A little past 11:30 p.m. in the East, our friend Dick Morris told us that states would start to roll in, and they have. Major news for Donald Trump. Donald Trump wins Wisconsin. His margin holds. The Badger State goes Republican in a presidential election for the first time in a long time. As for Hillary Clinton, as you might expect, heading out to the left coast, the state of Oregon goes for Hillary Clinton. So as it stands now, the electoral vote tally is as follows: 238 for Mr. Trump, 209, I believe, for Mrs. Clinton. I'm trying to check my math on that, but as we check the math, the big news is the Trump train continues to roll, and we roll along to discuss this with you from Newsmax Washington, my old congressional colleague Michael Patrick Flanagan, and from Newsmax New York, my colleague Steve Malzberg, host of the Steve Malzberg Show. Steve Areno, you got that smile earlier tonight. You know, you were kind of stoic. Heck, you were frowning very early tonight. But that frown has been turned upside down, and Donald Trump's turning the political world upside down.
My goodness. I mean, wow. It's incredible. What we are witnessing is just incredible. CNN finally got around just now to giving Florida to Donald Trump. I guess they were holding on tooth and nail. But this is incredible. Now, again, it hasn't happened yet. If he could secure Michigan, which he's a point up in Michigan, he's a point and a half down in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. I mean, Dick Morris explained the scenario very, very, very well. It's going to be so close, and the New York Times right now gives Donald Trump, I don't know if they took into consideration Wisconsin or not, but they have a meter on their website, and it's now over 90% chance of winning the presidency.
Michael Patrick Flanagan, go ahead, sir.
JD, assuming Georgia, Arizona, Alaska all come in as expected in Idaho, I think Trump just posted in Iowa, too. I don't know if you have that in front of you, but my little phone just told me that. He's there. It's over. Congratulations.
As a matter of fact, the Hawkeye State, Iowa, has now gone into the Trump column. Michael Patrick Flanagan, very astute, and that's what's happened. So this was another piece to the puzzle. In America's heartland, Iowa, where Trump went many times, and the wisdom of those visits and steadfast attention pays off tonight, Mike.
I'll tell you what, there's something very interesting that probably isn't going to get written anyplace, but I'm going to tell you this. Trump has been up in Chicago on the air for 3 weeks now. He has been on the air at night. He has been on the air in the evening news. He's been on the air during the day. They've dumped a lot of money in the Chicago market. It's an expensive market to just talk to southern Wisconsin. And what it did was keep the busloads of bums, is what we call them, the derelicts and people who vote for lunch or vote for a small pension, kept them out of Iowa, kept them out of southern Wisconsin, kept them out of Michigan, kept them out of the Panhandle in Florida where they sometimes go, and kept them in Chicago. I got 3 calls on Sunday, and I called and I said, where are the bums? And they said, the bums are here. They're voting in Chicago. I said, you're kidding. And they said, no, they're voting in Chicago. So they had to roll up the vote at home because they were afraid of it. And this is what I've said for years, JD. Illinois is a glass jaw. You hit them with $1 million worth of advertising, they will cover with $5 million worth of defensive money because they got to hold it. It's the home ground. And Mr. Trump understood that, went to Chicago, spent some money, and kept a lot of troops home that would have been spreading their air all over the Midwest, at least.
You know what I think of, guys? I think of earlier today when we were told, rightly or wrongly, I don't know yet, obviously, that the Latino vote, but the Latino vote is coming out up 100% in North Carolina, up 80% compared to 12 in Florida. And I heard people on CNN saying this is sweet justice. The very Latinos that Donald Trump wanted to build a wall to keep out, the ones he mocked, the ones he called rapists, they're going to make sure he doesn't win the presidency. I can't wait to see the breakdown of the demographics of this vote when all is said and done.
And all is not yet said and done, but the Trump train rolls on. Again, we mentioned it a second ago. But the Hawkeye State in the heartland, Iowa, Donald Trump has carried that state at long last. Michael Patrick Flanagan, you mentioned the Chicago air war, its influence on southern Wisconsin, and it has been worth noting that even as Steve Malzberg talked about the absurd arrogance at the alphabet networks and their cable cousins, we saw a Trump campaign staff that was very much at ease. Guys I've known and worked with, you worked with too, like David Bossie, walking on air this week, and it wasn't an act. They must have had internals to show this, but especially what you had to say about keeping the cogs in the machine at home in Cook County. Yeah, Illinois may have gone Democrat, but Wisconsin has gone Republican. It remains to be seen if Mr. Trump's lead can hold up in Michigan, but things look pretty good there too.
I'll tell you, JD, Mr. Trump is going to reshape the Republican Party, not just in issues and in the kinds of voters it has, but in the places it goes. Republicans will not go into urban areas. For 20 years, you listened to me preach to you on the floor and patiently listen to me because you're such a good guy. But I have been screaming for years that cities are not automatically bastions of Democratic voters. But if you never go there and you never ask for their vote and you never talk to them, well, of course they're not going to vote for you. Mr. Trump is not afraid of these places, and he's going to drive the party into cities, and that is the end of Democratic dominance electorally, period.
Let us go to the phones. We have Donna weighing in from, I believe, Fredericksburg, Maryland. Hello, Donna.
Hello there. Thank you for having me on.
We've been trying to get you for a long time, Donna.
Oh, man.
Only
this
kidding.
is
Go ahead.
What a night. I mean, I was thinking about the greatest generation, you know, what they've done for our country and how my generation, the boomers, have disappointed. And we owe it to our children, to the millennials, to them, to take it all back. And, you know, what's exciting to me with Trump, he's overcome the GOP, the press, you know, maybe even possible illegal voters. Who even knows? This is some phenomenon. I mean, this is really Americanism that we're witnessing. It's great.
And now Donald Trump moves ever closer to 270 electoral votes. It is now projected that Donald Trump is victorious in the state of Georgia, and things look peachy for the Trump train, now at 254 electoral votes. So whether it's the Midwest or the South, and we expect some more of the western states to come in momentarily, Donald Trump is moving ever closer to the 270 electoral vote mark. Steve Malzberg is a broadcaster you want to be involved in nights like this. Michael Patrick Flanagan, as a classmate from 1994 when we shocked the world, it's happened again. It looks like it's happening again. Hasn't quite happened yet, but it's getting there. How about it, Stephen?
We'll tell you. Yeah, I got to tell you, my great stage manager just changed the battery in my microphone. I had no microphone. I was shouting out to you when you were announcing Georgia. Hey, wait a minute. Are you sure? The Democrats were going to win Georgia? You better double check that, JD. And then I got to admit I wasn't concentrating on your question because I was worried about getting the microphone battery fixed. So I apologize.
Well, that's okay. Michael Patrick Flanagan always has something not that you don't have worthwhile things to say, Stephen, but you had to take care of that technical injustice. One of the few snafus tonight. No snafus tonight for the Trump train, MPF.
Woo-woo! On Wisconsin, on Wisconsin. I can go on all night. This is great news. When Arizona comes in, the JD's home and wonderful news there. Alaska, Idaho, it's over. Mrs. Clinton, you know, it was a delightful ride. Get ready to live behind striped sunlight because it's coming. To drain the swamp. I live here in Washington, and I'll tell you, There is no animus in this town toward Mr. Trump except by Republicans and the never-Trumpers who are now left out. And they are not going to be invited back into government because they're part of the swamp. And the swamp's got to get drained. You just got to go away. And it's going to be glorious. And for the pundits, the Republican pundits particularly, who today predicted that Trump would get the lowest number of electoral votes in the history of mankind, Mr. Crystal, you know, ha 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 on you. You know, good luck with you and your magazine in the future. If I sound a little bitter, it's only because I've had to fight you guys tooth and nail for months when we should have been pulling together on behalf of the American people to get this done. And you watched out for your own self-interest, you sat out, and now you'll expect to be welcome in, and it's not going to happen.
Well, what is going to happen is we're going to continue to monitor these votes. Thanks to Michael Patrick Flanagan and Steve Malzberg. We appreciate it. Up next, our Newsmax Roundtable, where the hosts get together to talk about history in the process of being made tonight. Donald Trump with an electoral majority right now. Let's see what happens. Stay with us.